There's been a lot of talk that late round QB is dead. The elite quarterbacks are the kings. We have to draft one of them. We need the elite quarterbacks. They have the highest upside. They allow us to draft only 2. Some people are even saying draft the elite quarterbacks in draft 3. We're going to see if we can debunk that today. We're going to see if we can draft a good late round quarterback team. Underdog blessed us with the puppy 2 dropping today. So we're going to hop in there, see if we can't do a little something different. Everybody likes Josh Allen. Everybody likes Kyler Murray. Everybody likes Patrick Mahomes. Let's do a little something different and have some fun. So what the behind the scenes look, sometimes at these silly fantasy football draft streams that we do is I was sitting here like almost clicking the go live button and like I'm having like an allergy fit attack. Apparently that's a Friday thing. A few Fridays ago, I think I also had it. I have terrible allergies. Having like an absolute allergy fit. I'm just like getting all this just like chaos basically going on up here. I mean, I normally have chaos with the ugly mug, but I mean like internally there's like a lot going on here. And I was sitting here just like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this cold open. Like I feel like I'm about to die. And so it's fitting because if you watched last Friday here on this channel, myself and Rob Coakley did a best ball hot dog eating contest on what is going to be one of our new shows. Still a Spike Week Draft Club, where we're obviously drafting best ball teams, but we're calling it the Draft Club with a twist, where we're going to kind of do some fun themes around drafting a best ball team. And what we talked about last week was we were going to do sort of a hot ones episode of a best ball draft, right? Every pick or every couple picks or whatever, eat a hot wing that has some kind of hot sauce on it that culminated in this final boss that we've purchased. I think it's called like Satan's. I don't know. It's something ridiculous. It's upstairs. Satan's death or whatever. It's some just absurdly hot sauce that we bought. That's probably going to kill me. But had to push that back because if you listened yesterday to the show with Pat Crane and myself here on this channel, it's my sister's birthday. It's Satan's blood. Thank you, Rob. Satan's blood. That's the hot sauce. And it comes in this little, it looks like it's like a genie bottle, right? And it's really small. That's how you know it's just so fucking hot that it's like literally going to kill you. It's like $20, which is not crazy or anything, but it's like $20 and the bottle's like this big. And it's also shaped like anyway. But we talked about this. We want to do these kind of new fun draft streams and stuff like that. And I was thinking about it earlier this week because we were working on scheduling and everything. And it's like, well, it's my sister, my younger sister turns 30 today. Don't tell her that I told you that it's her 30th birthday, but she turns 30 tonight, and we're going out like after this. And if I did that, and showed up to my sister's 30th birthday get together with all my family, they might kick me out of the family. I'm surprised they haven't kicked me out of the family already, but they might kick me out of the family. So anyway, we're gonna get back to the with a twist drafts, but today we're gonna, and it's fitting, right? There's a puppy draft or a puppy tournament, a new puppy today, and so it'll work. We'll get back to it. I just wanted to level set for anybody that watched the hot dog video and wanted to wonder why we weren't doing the thing that we said we were gonna do. last week. So anyway, Puppy 2 is available now on Underdog today. I started writing the playbook for premium subscribers on the website. I started writing the playbook. It's so funny. I wrote this actually before I came down here to start the show. I wrote like a huge portion of the strategy has to do with the fact that this thing's only going to be open for like a week or two, maybe less at this rate. But I started writing, I don't know, a couple hours. Let's just call it 3 hours or so, 3 or 4 hours after the tournament opened, and it was 6% full. Already, or excuse me, yeah, 6% full. Like 6,000 people had already drafted in a few hours into this puppy. So this tournament is just absolutely, I mean, these puppies fill up so fast. So we might as well hop into one of them. And I've been wanting to, it's the perfect, I think, thing to do something like this with the late round quarterback. I've been thinking through a lot of stuff with different strategies. You know, we're in this kind of dead zone of the NFL offseason where, you know, there really isn't that much to talk about with players. The Gabe Davis thing was really funny to kind of talk about or whatever, but you know, it's generally, we're not getting a lot of new news. We're really not getting any new news other than like a Baker Mayfield trade. And so it is kind of a downtime. So I've been thinking through yesterday, brought Pat on. I really do highly recommend going and watching the Best Ball Theory show with myself and Pat Corain yesterday, where we kind of walked through exposures, how we're thinking through exposures and all of that. It was really good and like a really helpful exercise just for me, honestly. And so if it was helpful for me, I think you might be able to gain something from seeing me walk through it. My favorite takeaway was actually happened like literally right before the show. I was trying to walk. Pat had some questions about the Draft IQ tool, which is what we use to show our exposures. And on DraftKings, I've done 76 teams into their $5 Millie Maker, and I have one team that has any Raiders on it with Trey Lance and George Kittle. Like any Raider, pick a Raider. And so just diving into those exposures has been really helpful. But that's one of the things I've been, you know, that's a theme of something that I've been thinking about. But also, like, it's so easy to like become a robot through the course of this offseason and draft the same types of teams in every tournament and the same types of teams just every time you show up, right? You have the things you like. You listen to other people. We talk about structure. We talk about strategy. We talk about all this nonsense. And it's like, well, got to get an elite quarterback. So get an elite quarterback and get an elite tight end. And you need X amount of running backs and X amount of wide receivers and all this stuff. And it really started this week. Sorry, I told you. I think I'm dying. I think it's the hot dog hangover. I think there might finally be killing me today. But talked with Hayden Winks from Underdog, and he was doing some research into like players' positional scoring volatility, which snowballed into like all this different conversation, which was awesome. No, Jason, no, please don't even say the word. Don't even say the word. This is no shit. I don't know if this guy. I never know if people know that I did the hot dog thing, or it's like bullshit. Like, you know, I don't know everybody that like replies on Twitter or whatever. And anyway, I'm trying not to get sidetracked because I've been bullshitting for too long already. But my point about the late round quarterback thing and why I was talking about the exposure thing is I think we're in this like point of the offseason where I've just actually started to be more thoughtful about these strategies. And a late round quarterback is the one that like this like light bulb almost went off in my head this week when talking with Hayden, was because he was actually doing a study on literally basically had nothing to do with late round quarterback, but he came back and in looking at the volatility of scoring and just the general scoring of every single position, he was like, what's interesting is quarterback scoring. We've drawn this conclusion. So he didn't like totally say all of this. I'm kind of paraphrasing the takeaway. What is interesting is that quarterback scoring has been a really big outlier in the last couple of years. And so we as a community in fantasy football have drawn a conclusion on what that means, saying, right, everyone says this is I've probably said it. I know tons of other people have said it. Oh, the quarterback market is just so efficient. We can project it better. The elite guys just have a higher ceiling and a higher expectation. And the late round guys, it's not the same anymore. They don't have the upside, right? You can't get Lamar Jackson in the 12th round anymore. You can't get this, whatever, the quarterback thing is different. The elites are where it's at now because it's just different now. That's what everybody's saying. And I actually tend to believe that is true. However, it's really just like 2 years of super outlier scoring at the quarterback position and super kind of projectable scoring amongst the top options at the position. And it's like, it's still really just a sample size of 2 where we're saying we know the answer to this. But in reality, I'm not really sure that we do know the answer to this, right? I don't know what percentages I would put on we have the answer versus we don't, but I think it's an interesting thing to consider. And I even more want to put this into my portfolio a little bit more. What's, maybe 3 late round quarterbacks, maybe even a little bit of 2 in case there's, the time where it makes sense. But generally, I'm interested in this late round quarterback thing, not because I think it's, the 100% the new way to go, but largely because everyone else thinks it's dead. And there's enough reason to suggest that, I don't know, maybe it's just been a couple years of outlier scoring at the quarterback position. And so we're going to try to see what we can do today to do it. So I'm hopping in. We're going to hop into a puppy now. I wasted enough time. Oh, Jesus, I'm the last one. Nice. So you guys don't get to get in and ruin my teams unless you've been sitting in here waiting, but I doubt it. No badge. Oh, no. Okay, a couple of badges at the end. And the 107. Literally, the 107 is the absolute worst. A couple of badges, but nothing crazy. But no, Jason, no hot dogs today. No hot dogs. DKB says, yeah, I can see a bunch of the second-year guys breaking out. I feel like a fair share of the late-round QBs could finish, in the top 12. Yeah, I tend to agree, and I tend to think that I think there's a fair amount of the time when we get the results in from this season that we look back and say, oh yeah, Mac Jones, wasn't a runner, but he's going at pick 175 on a really good offense. Like the Patriots were a top 10 offense last year. And the second year, pretty good young quarterback is going back there, and Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins and Matthew Stafford and stuff are going where they're going. Or Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones stinks, right? Everybody says it. Daniel Jones stinks. But you get Brian Daboll, and everybody thought Josh Allen stunk. And I'm not saying he's Josh Allen by any stretch of the imagination. I think Daniel Jones stinks too. But he runs. He's got a bunch of weapons. He has a brilliant offensive coordinator, Zach Wilson. Everybody, he stinks. He stinks, right? Trevor Lawrence, he was terrible last year. What? Jameis, the Falcons quarterbacks, Kenny Pickett or Mitch. Damn it. Let me think about this. Here's what we're going to do. Because I know I'm going to probably be ending up with 3 late round quarterbacks. I'm going to take Travis Kelce and just get myself a little anchor tight end. So I know 100% I'm only drafting 2, and not really. If I want to draft 1, I could only draft Travis Kelce. 2 out of 12 teams advance. Big whoop if I take a 0 in Kelce's bye week. And these wide receivers that I would take right here, you guys know me. I'm not taking Derrick Henry and Najee. These wide receivers that I would take right here, it's not that I only want to take the wide receivers. It's actually not this at all, that I only want to take the wide receivers for the late round quarterbacks. But I would, when I'm just breaking a tie, if I'm going to try to draft this late round quarterback team, if I'm breaking a tie, I don't want to take Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen's the most expensive quarterback. I've already locked myself out of one potential stack option. So we're going to just go a little bit of a different route with Kelce there at the 107. And I think Kelce's my 6th overall player anyway. So let's see. Yeah. Jason says, I'd be happy with Daniel Jones being 70% of Josh Allen. Seriously. Wouldn't that be just an absolute smash late round pick? It is interesting when you start to look here at the wide receivers that are available. This is definitely an interesting spot. I mean, also speaking of the Giants, Saquon, I miss the days of our good friend Saquon Barkley going, Jesus, now he goes 13th overall. Remember when we could get Saquon Barkley in like the early to mid 3rd round? Those are the days. Those were the days. I'm going to end up Saquon Barkley. Actually, if you don't know, Saquon Barkley is if you're not a subscriber, I'll give this one away. Saquon Barkley is my RB3 behind CMC and Jonathan Taylor. So clearly I've been pro him rising up here, but I'm really missed the times of getting him, in the early 3rd round. Like starting like Cooper Kupp and then pick your late 2nd round guy and then Saquon Barkley. That was so much more fun. So much more fun. Damn it. I was kind of actually wanting Swift there. Here we go. I know that Tyreek is not as good as Mike Evans and Debo, but I'm considering taking Tyreek here. Because Tua, I think you guys would agree that Tua probably fits a late round quarterback strategy. So if I'm going to break a tie there, I really did actually want Swift to give me a little anchor running back. See, I told you I was dying. Oh my gosh. I don't know if I'm allergic. I was going to say like I'm allergic to the puppy, but I have 2 of them. And they're absolutely insane. It's also like a 10 million degrees here and 10 million% humidity. I guess it's only 93 right now, but it's like 93 with like 90% humidity because it's been storming. The only reason it's not 105 is because it's been storming, but then it's more humid. Like I'm trying to like go for walks. I'm trying to take the dogs for a walk, and it's like they can't make it like 10 minutes with this humidity, and apparently I can't make it either. It's killing me. So while we're kind of sitting here waiting, and obviously we're not going to be getting to any of the quarterbacks for a while, I'm curious on what you guys in the chat think of what your like kind of favorite late round quarterbacks are. Obviously here, this isn't one of my favorite late round quarterbacks, but I've set myself up for Tua, which I think is kind of interesting for a late round quarterback. We talked about Daniel Jones, Mac Jones, Zach Wilson. I guess I would call Trevor Lawrence a late round quarterback. I think, him and Tua are kind of like the borderline-ish. You kind of have to see how the draft goes with them. But also curious on if you guys are drafting the Kenny Pickett's and I guess now we have Baker at our disposal, or the Mariotas or the Ritters or those types of guys, with kind of some late round quarterback teams. See, I shouldn't. This is always this interesting spot where I believe in the reason that I took Kelsey, but then Kyle Pitts is always available to you, and you're like, God damn it, why did I do that? I'm okay with Pittman, I think. I'm not taking Kamara. I don't really like Michael Pittman, but everybody hates Michael Pittman. I'm just gonna. I don't know if I've taken Michael Pittman, so I'm gonna look at that really quick, and see in Best Ball Mania. I've taken Pittman a couple times. Average ADP. My average ADP of Michael Pittman is 42.67. And his ADP is 30, and I just took him at 31. Oops. Yeah. The Pittman thing is very interesting. He's like it's so funny because Jay White brings up Gabe Davis versus Bateman. I'll get to that. But isn't it funny that Gabe is getting memed into oblivion, right? He's getting Trey Lance. He's getting whatever. He's getting the wide receiver versus running back meme of last year. He's getting this crazy. Sorry, I forgot to bring up the draft board. I get distracted easily. He's getting memed like crazy, and I don't know why he's the subject of all the hate when there's like a ton, like you said, there's Rashad Bateman in the same range, there's Jerry Jeudy in the same range. Cortland Sutton has never done anything to make us take him where he goes. Mike Williams goes to the 2-3 turn. Keenan Allen is old as dirt and has not deserved, certainly not in half point PPR, to be drafted where he's drafted. The Michael Pittman thing, I know people there. I know a lot of people don't like Michael Pittman, but then his ADP has risen and he remains in that spot. It's not like he's falling. And so why is it that Gabe is the one that everybody's like, oh, you idiot. You like Gabe Davis? He's bad at football. He's overpriced. This is my favorite. He's priced to his ceiling. What the fuck does that even mean? You're just saying shit. People just say shit that like doesn't make any sense. What if Gabe Davis is the 1A/1B with Stephon Diggs in the best offense in the NFL? He's not priced at his ceiling at the 4-5 turn. Like your projections, I guess, say he's priced at his ceiling, but I don't even know what the fuck that means. It's stupid. So here's an interesting one. I don't mind Waddle here. I'm obviously on deck and have Waddle available, potentially available. Maybe not. There goes McLaurin. I don't want to force. So on one hand, you can take Waddle here, and then it's obviously clearly what you've done to yourself with the Dolphins thing. What I'm actually going to do is take Deontay Johnson because it gives me. I think I actually have Deontay ranked higher than Waddle. I don't remember. I'm in the process of updating rankings, but they dropped that damn puppy today that kind of changed some things. And I'm going to make like a really, really, really similar bet. I'll just give myself the flexibility of Deontay over Waddle. But I don't mind at these kind of new-ish prices where both Tyreek and Waddle are falling a little bit. I don't mind those guys with it's just that it forces, you don't have to have Tua with both of those guys. You definitely don't. but it forces you into, you have less other wide receiver options, and it forces you into thinking about him a lot more and prioritizing him a lot more. And I'm a flexibility stan. That's what I do. I'm trying to see what might make sense here. Let me hit. So for me, this is Gabe. I get anyway. The question is Gabe, Davis, or Bateman. It's a hot topic, and I know you love Gabe, but curious if you think it's close. Gabe Davis has entered the chat and says Bateman. Shocker. But I think a couple things. I understand. Trust me, I understand the negative aspects of Gabe Davis. And sorry, I'm sort of clicking around my rankings and such a little bit here. I understand the negative aspects of Gabe. 110%. He hasn't done it yet. Some people don't even think he's good. He has been outside, then there's the argument that all of his ADP is because of where, what he did in that playoff game. I get every single possible argument that exists against Gabe Davis. The issue is that there are reasons to be in on him. No matter what the haters will say, people love to make this a binary thing. He can't possibly be better than this. This dude earned basically a full snap role on an elite offense as a 21-year-old rookie. And I understand he went in the 4th round, but he was also an early declare that was crazy productive in college. And you get, hold on, I'm about to be on the clock. I assume Gabe Davis is not available. Oh, we're in good shape here with some guys. I am gonna star a couple of guys while I'm thinking about it. We're just gonna have all the wide receivers on shitty offenses because I'm targeting the late round quarterback thing. I really fucking hate Brandon Cooks too. Let me think about this. I can't take. I just, it will make me physically ill if I take Brandon Cooks over Juju. But Gabe scored, I believe it was something like 9 touchdowns in his final. Like, obviously there was several of them in that final playoff game. Something like 9 touchdowns in his final 6 games or something like that. Earned a full-time role on this elite offense. People hold things against him that they won't hold other things against other players, right? Everybody loves. I posted a tweet that was like, okay, I get the Gabe Davis hatred, but who then, if I'm not allowed to take Gabe from pick 45 to pick 55 or whatever, here's the ADP, here's the 15 players or whatever, 10, 12 players that exist in that range at running back and wide receiver, right? I specifically didn't include quarterback and tight end because people will just say, well, I'm just going to take Lamar Jackson. And it's like, honestly, I'm not even really necessarily arguing with that. But if you're drafting in quantity in best ball, it's like you can't take a quarterback every single time there, which also leads into this late round quarterback conversation. But sorry, fixing the board. But people are like, oh, it's Brandon Cooks. Oh, it's Allen Robinson. And it's like, Brandon Cooks is old on the fucking Houston Texans and has absolutely 0 outs to being a smash. He has very nice outs to being a fine pick where you're like, yeah, he helped me. He has 0 outs in a game of best ball where we really only care about what happens at the top, right? Congratulations, you drafted Brandon Cooks and you finished 6th in your league, right? Because he made your lineup. He's a wide receiver 2. He's a wide receiver 2 8 times. Ooh, baby. You don't win shit from the guys who just like are average or even above average. You need to finish in the top 2 of that league. So there's something to that. Then guess what? I need to make it to the finals against all the best teams. And I need to finish first out of all the best teams in the history of best ball. Like, I understand that there's a floor on Gabe Davis, but being on the Bills, being playing 100% of snaps or whatever on the outside with the Bills as a 23-year-old who has distributed a level of ceiling that some of these other guys don't have. Allen Robinson as a 29-year-old who was the wide receiver 91 last year. People are like, it's fine. Wide receiver 91? Who cares? Oh, God, no. Not Amari. I really do kind of eventually start to need some running backs, huh? But I hate these running backs. Okay, I need to do something because I don't want to take Jalen Hurts, although I do like Devonta Smith. No, I'm changing my mind. I don't even really like this cost on AJ Dillon. But when you reach a tier of, like I said, I do like Devonta Smith, but I'm trying to maintain some flexibility. A tier of guys who are just kind of all meh. I mean, I do like Jalen Hurts. Like if I weren't doing this late round quarterback thing. But when you kind of start with this structure, a bunch of wide receivers, I think AJ Dillon makes some sense. Give me those usable weeks at running back. But the other thing I was talking to, actually, obviously I talked to him yesterday, our buddy Pat Curran from NBC Sports and Ship Chasing. And I didn't miss your comment, KZ. But I was talking to Pat because I posted that tweet about like, okay, who are you supposed to draft exactly? Like, who am I allowed to draft? Dear Twitter, who am I allowed to draft at the 4-5 turn if it's not Gabe Davis? And every single fucking person said Allen Robinson and Brandon Cooks. Like everybody. And it was funny. Like, you know, I engaged with a few folks. And one of the somebody said something like, well, you know, I don't know if Allen Robinson's still good, but, right? Because the whole premise was like, yes, Gabe has huge question marks, but he also has a huge upside case. On the flip side, Allen Robinson has an upside case. I don't hate Allen Robinson, but he also has huge question marks. The dude was horrific last year, and people make the excuse for Allen Robinson, like, oh, he was bad. Is the Bears? You know, it was the Bears. Darnell Mooney was good. We're drafting David Montgomery still on the Bears. We're drafting Darnell Mooney still on the Bears, but Allen Robinson was shit. And it's like, no, it's fine. He's on the Rams. You're like, it's fine for this dude who was shit last year that's on the Rams and he's almost 30. But it's not fine for the 23-year-old who just had one of the best playoff performances ever on the Bills. Someone's got to explain that one to me. Oh, yeah. Easy game. Tony Pollard. Sorry. I don't like Antonio Gibson. Even at pick 79. I know that might be a little bit controversial, but such is life. You guys can deal with it. I'm okay with this, though. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Michael Pittman, Deontay Johnson, Juju, AJ Dillon, and Tony Pollard. Little zero running back. KZ says, come here for the hot sauce. Come here for the hot sauce. Got cucked into Erik justifying his AJ Dillon pick. That's what happens when you draft AJ Dillon in the 6th round. You have to justify it. What the fuck do you want me to do? What's the difference between AJ Dillon and Ramondre? One plays for a team with one of the best quarterbacks of all time, who just lost Devontae Adams, which could be perceived as a knock, but also could be perceived as AJ Dillon's going to get the ball. AJ Dillon is a little better than Ramondre, in my opinion. If you want to debate that, that's fine. Also, the Patriots have like 7 fucking running backs. There's a big difference between one team. Also, one team has Matt Patricia and Joe Judge competing to be the offensive coordinator. So it would be bad enough if they just hired one of them to be the offensive coordinator, but they said, you both suck, so we're going to let the 2 maybe shittiest possible offensive coordinators compete for this job since Josh McDaniels is gone. But you come from the Belichick tree, so, he's just going to hire his buddies. So they have 2 of the dumbest potential offensive coordinators with a team that has Damian Harris, who was the lead back last year. I know we're like riding Damian Harris off. By the way, Ramondre is like one of my highest on running backs, but I'm just making the bear case. We as a market have said, oh no, Damian, it's over for Damian Harris, even though he was the lead last year and he was really good. James White is probably going to come back, and they literally drafted 2 running backs. I have no idea what's going on in New England, but there's definitely a serious difference between the 2. Treylon or Christian Kirk are both very interesting on this team. Chris Olave. I got to take Treylon Burks, though. I actually don't mind Christian Kirk, but Treylon Burks, the plummet of Treylon Burks is something I'm actually he might be a player that I put into the playbook for Puppy 2, actually, that I'm writing, where I spotlight a few players I think that are good targets in that particular tournament. He's on my list. I made a little short list, and I'm considering putting him on there because it's just like the perfect buying time, right? I haven't been drafting much Treylon Burks, but now this plummet that he's been on is pretty interesting. Getting him, pick 90 to 100 or whatever is pretty interesting. Also, obviously fits this build. Also, for my week 17 bros, Tony Pollard and Treylon Burks is a fun correlation. DKB says A-Rob's reception perception was still good, so it definitely gives me a little bit more confidence. Otherwise, I'd be really out on him. Yeah, I love what Matt does. I love reception perception, but it's also one piece of the puzzle. It's a tool in the tool belt, and people like to use one specific thing. This guy's good, right? Terry McLaurin is good. Terry McLaurin is better than this guy because his reception perception says he's better. And maybe. But again, those are the things I like to think of. I like to store away. I call all that shit interesting. It's all interesting. And I keep it in there because it's interesting, but it's not a binary 1 versus 1. Like, his reception perception wasn't bad, so A-Rob's not dust. I mean, if you're look, I know the Bears were bad, but we can also be realistic about he's old, and that was fucking pathetic. what he just did. I think Singletary here. Yeah. So now we're slowly drawing closer to the late round QB thing. But this is kind of fun. This is a pretty fun team. Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Michael Pittman, Deontay Johnson. Speaking of perception, I know Matt likes Michael Pittman. Deontay Johnson, Juju Smith-Schuster, AJ Dillon to start zero running back team. Tony Pollard, Treylon Burks, and Devin Singletary. I'm pretty cool with AJ Dillon, Tony Pollard, and Devin Singletary. And then starting with Travis Kelce, but still getting Treylon Burks as your wide receiver 5. It's pretty fun. I'm starting to get into this late round QB thing. When you say I will hate my this is interesting. I will hate my I'll end up hating my quarterbacks, but it makes you feel real. There's a mental health benefit to late round quarterback. You get through the first 12 rounds of your draft or whatever. And look at that. This is an all-star squad. Then you look at your quarterbacks and it's like Ryan Tannehill, Jared Goff, and Malik Willis. But look at those first picks. Jay White says Bateman splits with Lamar were godlike and he was coming off injury and no preseason. I just think people are sleeping on him. I mean, no one's sleeping on him. He goes very high. It's like the Gabe thing. No one's sleeping on Gabe. I still like Gabe, but nobody's sleeping on Rashad Bateman. He went at the 501. That's not sleeping on anybody. Where should he go? Who should he go in front of? I like Bateman fine. Yep. I agree. I don't have any real issue. I wouldn't say that his splits were godlike. Cooper Kupp was godlike. But I do appreciate the hyperbole as a hyperbolic person myself. Godlike. Best Ball Monitor, it says I have 0 Treylon. I take Tony, Allen Lazard, MVS, and Gage in that range. Well, Gage is definitely not in that range anymore. I don't think any of those guys were available when I took Burks. MVS went right in front of me. So it would have been an interesting decision because I already had Juju and Kelce. And I don't know if I want to, without Mahomes, I don't know if I want to attach that third Chief, but it would have been at least a discussion. But I don't think any of those other guys were available. They're all gone. Yeah, Tony's gone. So I think I have all those guys higher up. Ooh, Chase Edmonds is like a little interesting on this team. I cannot take a quarterback yet. Remind me. God damn it. I'm going to take. I don't even really like Chase Edmonds, but I can't possibly take Tim Patrick. I pick 114 and Michael Gallup. If you listen to the Sharp Angles podcast with oh my God, Joe Betts, is that his name? No. God damn it. Someone remind me what the Sharp Angles podcast. Of course, my internet's going to be slow. No. I don't want to screw up this. Matt Betts? I don't want to screw up his name. He works for Fantasy Footballers. Awesome. And like amazing resource on injuries and such. And so I just wanted to give that a little push, that podcast. Matthew Betts. Thank you, Sam. Samuel says Matthew Betts. I couldn't remember. Sorry, Matt. Actually, I'm going to try to bring Matt on. He doesn't know that yet. But I'm going to try to bring Matt on. So I apologize for forgetting your first name. I knew it was. Come on. At least spell it right, David. As I forget the first name, I'm telling you to spell it right. All right. So, like I said, we are slowly starting to get into quarterback range. I have 4 running backs, 5 wide receivers, and Travis Kelce. So feel pretty good about where we're at with everything. But yeah, Matt definitely has me not particularly interested in Michael Gallup. Ooh. Okay. Shit. Oh. Yeah, I'm going to take Jakobi Meyers. Not necessarily because I love Jakobi Meyers, but I really want to have some Patriots set up here. Really want to have some Patriots. TKB says, I find pods with injury experts and beat writers to be the most valuable pods by a lot. Thanks, as you listen to a show that is not either of those. Appreciate that. I'm kidding. Obviously. I found it really valuable too. And Matt was great. Rich is great. Great episode. Go listen. Go find that one. Sharp Bengals. But as you saw there, so Justin Fields is available to me. Tua, who is clearly someone on my list, is available to me. But I didn't want to force it and then fuck up the team by forcing one of the quarterbacks. And I do actually I do like Jakobi Meyers quite a bit. David says we're all just here for dog wrestling. Can you? Oh no, wrong way. He is. Hold on. He's right there. One of them. If you can see. Sleeping good. Just they really live a tough life, They really live a tough life. It is way too hot for these. They're Husky Shepherd mixed dogs, about 75 pounds ish. They're 6 years old, and it is just absolutely way too hot for them. It's too fucking hot for me. I'm a middle-aged human, and like I walk out there, and it's like, God, I can't stand it out here. I'm dying. Yeah, agree with this. David says dog wrestling content greater than sign like 100 of them over Coakley puking on stream content. I agree, and I've felt really bad since. For anyone that missed this again last week, we did the hot dog eating contest draft stream, and we reached round 6 or something like that. I don't remember what round it was. We reached round middle of the draft, and the hot dogs had caught up to Rob, and so they needed to be purged from his body. And I have the controls right on mute, remove people from the stream and all of that, and I was laughing while also like trying to cover the fact that he just stood up and walked away to go vomit. And I don't you do this if Rin oh yes, okay, look at that. All right, first quarterback of the late round quarterback build. Is everyone okay with a 12th round? Is this acceptable for late round quarterback? I feel like this is acceptable. Like getting into this tier of like the Tuas of the world, I feel like that's late round to me. I'm kind of interested in you guys' take on that, on what you would classify as late round. I would say I kind of have Fields as what I would call a backstop to the late round, which is interesting because he was not that far away. But it's like this, Fields usually goes a little bit before that. It's this like 10th, 11th round range with the Cousins, Rodgers, Fields, Cousins, Carr, those guys. There's that lumping there in that 10th, 11th round. And then where I think it's still maybe fine to do 2 quarterbacks with those guys. I'm not saying you need to, but I'm saying they're good enough to where it's possible that that's okay. But then like you get into the Tuas and the Lawrences and the Zach Wilsons and all that kind of stuff. Casey says the tier after Tua, which I think is fine. So like, hold on, let me pull it up. So no other quarterbacks have gone since Tua. So Tua, Casey, you would say Tua is like kind of the cutoff. Late round is now. Jameis, Matt Ryan, Daniel Jones, whatever. I think that's reasonable. David says, I consider the 10th round and later. So even more like the Kirk Cousins of the world. And he says, if Fields is my QB1, I'm almost certainly taking 3. So like that's a even, so that's another thing. There's varying levels to all of that. But why I say the Tua thing is because the Cousins, Carr, Rodgers and stuff of the world are kind of, they don't have the upside to be an elite quarterback, but they're like a bankable production type of thing. Right. And then you reach like a Justin Fields, who is very much so not bankable production, but he's a young, high upside rushing quarterback with a profile that is very high upside, also low floor, but a very high upside profile. And you get past that, you could argue Lawrence. I think he proved last year he's pretty low floor. But you get past Lawrence into Tua is like, from a projection standpoint, Tua is like a shitty version of the Kirk Cousins, Derek Carrs and stuff of the world, where he's not going to run a lot. He's not like a super big play guy or whatever, but you're just kind of going to get there through the fact that he has Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And I do think he has a little more up, like he has the youth factor on his side. And like everybody hates Tua, which I understand, but I think he's a little better than the market gives him credit for. So that's why I think he was debatable. That's why I brought it up. What's my structure here? 4 running backs: AJ Dillon, Tony Pollard, Devin Singletary, and Chase Edmonds. So we got the little Tua, Tyreek Hill, Edmonds stack. I'm on the clock here in the 13th round with Tyreek, Michael Pittman, Deontay Johnson, Juju, Treylon Burks, Jakobi Meyers, and Travis Kelsey. DJ Chark does make sense here. So does Kenny Gainwell, though, who I am quite fond of Kenny Gainwell. I don't have a lot of DJ Chark, and I really do like the Lions. So we're gonna do that. Again, going back to shout out to Matt Betts. If Jameson Williams is slow, or maybe even like almost never able to get back up to 100% Jameson Williams in this season, damn it, Daniel Jones. DJ Chark is a clear, benefactor of that. Best Ball Moderate says, after Cousins, I just wait till the end. Yeah, I think that's reasonable too. It just kind of depends. It's an interesting late round quarterback thing, which I'm getting more into. Even like doing this draft, I kind of thought it might sour me on the subject, but this draft is definitely not souring me on late round quarterback. But it's a delicate balancing act, right? Where you're trying to maximize all these other positions and then take a group of, say, 3 quarterbacks that blend together this ability to get you enough points while still getting you upside and all of that, right? So like if you totally punt it off and you just take like Davis Mills and Jared Goff and I don't know whoever is another, and Baker, that's probably the best. You take Davis Mills and Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff, it's like that's late round quarterback, and those guys are like gonna get points, but like you're basically guaranteeing you're losing a lot of points every week at the position. And so it's trying to weigh those things, right? Like I still want to compete at the position. I know I'm not going to like truly compete at quarterback with Josh Allen and Lamar and Kyler Murray and Mahomes and stuff, but you get a Tua breakout and you're close enough, right? That's the whole point. And then you have 3 of them. So theoretically, then you're kind of like, you have the option to ping pong this stuff. Like, okay, I got the Tua 25-point game, and then next week I get the Matt Ryan 25-point game, and I get the Daniel Jones 25-point game, and the Jared Goff 25-point. I'm ping ponging between those, but you do still need there is a requisite level of upside that you still kind of need, and so that's the balance. That's by far the most difficult balance. So I'm on the clock again here. I think I'm at pick. So I look, the anti-reach people, please don't earmuffs, but I'm taking Mac Jones here. I have Mac Jones ranked significantly higher than where he goes. This was I picked him at pick 162 and his ADP is 172. So just, if that bothers you so much, then move along to a different channel. This YouTube channel is not the one for you. But he fits my team very, very well. And I do think he's the right kind of profile that I want from a floor ceiling perspective on a late round quarterback team. And now I'm set up really well. I feel good about Tua and Mac. Do I feel good enough to not take a third? I don't think so, personally. I like adding on the Davis Mills, Kenny Pickett's, Atlanta guys. I like adding on, even if the room doesn't work out for you, and it's like, okay, let's do Desmond Ridder or let's do Malik Willis or something like that. That's not my goal for this draft, but I think it's okay. But that's because I've waited on quarterback and given myself these two options that are still strong. They have enough upside. Tua and Mac Jones are not going to be superstar quarterbacks, but they have enough upside to be pretty damn good that the combination of those two are keeping me in the game at quarterback. I do generally agree with this. Casey says it's silly that Matt Ryan is this low. He's trash, but he gets Frank Reich and a killer running back O-line combo. And I also don't think that it's a lock that he's trash. He was pretty good last year. Again, these are super silly stats, kind of like what I was talking about with the reception perception thing, which reception perception is not silly, to be clear. But I was just saying, when I was talking about that, it's a tool and it's interesting. But Matt Ryan, when he was actually able to stay upright and not get pressured and stuff, even with the lack of weapons, was pretty good still last year. Now he goes to a situation with a smart coach, as you said, and an elite offensive line, Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. The receiving weapons aren't amazing, but they're decent. This type of offense was good with Phillip Rivers. Why can't Matt Ryan kind of do something similar? I am going to queue up Alec Pierce. There's Tannehill, which is remotely interesting as the third. I'm not going to take him over Alec Pierce though, because I'm pretty in on Alec Pierce, and I should have been paying a little bit more attention. So I am probably going to be done at wide receiver now, though. I was honestly not paying enough attention to my structure, because I really do want. I think I'm going to need the two other running backs, right? With Dillon, Pollard, Singletary, and Edmonds. I think I'm gonna need them. But as Samuel says, Pickett. I have Deontay Johnson. Samuel loves Pickett for his late round quarterback teams, and no one is baking in any upside for him. I totally agree. And if you don't like Pickett, then theoretically you might like Mitch Trubisky, which I understand that people don't like Mitch Trubisky, but from an upside stance in a late round quarterback, both of the Pittsburgh guys, the Pittsburgh guys and the Atlanta guys are partial reasons why I think the late round quarterback thing is pretty freaking fascinating this year. Because the only reason those guys don't get drafted or get drafted in the 18th round is solely because we don't know who is the starter. And even if we did, is Trubisky going to hold on to the job? Atlanta's going to stink, so Mariota won't hold on to the job. But every single one of those four guys in and of themselves have upside. Mariota runs, Ridder runs. They have, Atlanta weapons are okay. But, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Brian Edwards, it's not that bad. And then Pittsburgh, the weapons are amazing. The situation's awesome. The only reason the Steelers quarterbacks don't get taken way high, if the Steelers didn't sign Mitch and they just had Pickett, would go so much higher, or vice versa. If they didn't draft Pickett and they only signed Mitch, he would go way higher. But they don't, because we don't know. But that's what makes them interesting on these kinds of teams, is you can mix them in. And if you're wrong, you still have two other guys. They still have outs to play. right? Mariota is definitely going to start the year. Mitch is probably going to start the year, but like they have out. It's not dead. Your 18th round running back is probably dead too. So who gives a shit? You know, I think they're very, very interesting. There is Tannehill. I'm going to keep waiting though and look at some of these running backs. Not Mostert, not Brian. I'm not a big Brian Robinson fan. I am a big Donta Foreman fan. A little early, maybe. No, it's not. It's not. Who am I kidding? Take your guys. I don't really like Marlon Mack that much. I don't really like Jamal Williams. I definitely don't want J.D. McKissick. So Donta Foreman is my guy. He's one of my guys. I'm just going to take him. Don't become a slave to the ADP if it's a round early in the 16th round. Who cares? It doesn't matter. Donta Foreman at 16.6 versus Donta Foreman at 17.6 doesn't fucking matter. I almost fell for the trap that I literally tell people not to draft. David says the Atlanta pass catcher is greater than New England, Cleveland, or Indy. That's interesting. I'm trying to think about that. Indy for sure. Indy for sure. What did you say? New England, Cleveland, Amari, David Bell, Njoku, Harrison Bryant, TPJ. And then New England is is so weird because they have more guys. Atlanta has Pitts and London. And then New England has a bunch of dudes, none of which who are as good as Pitts and London. Well, I mean, we'll see about London, but upside, from an upside case. But it's like Jakobi Meyers, yep, decent, like him. Kendrick Bourne, whatever, boring veteran, but kind of good. He's an average NFL football player, but like from a fantasy perspective. Devontae Parker, yep, another same thing as Kendrick Bourne. Tyquan Thornton, rookie, I don't know, deep ball threat. Hunter Henry, pretty good football player. Jonnu, whatever. It's just like a bunch of whatever. So they've accumulated a volume of whatever. So it's kind of like, do you like a quantity of meh or two pretty good? One especially pretty good, and then a bunch of shit. I guess depending on your Brian Edwards take. Dude, this is fucking insane. Shout out to you, Eric. Shout out to you, Erik B. The amount I talked about, I literally went into a freaking soliloquy with Pat yesterday talking about this. What is it about this channel that brings in Erics? So many Erics. And it's one thing to bring in Erics, like to subscribe. It's another thing to bring in Erics to comment in the chat, right? Most people don't like to comment necessarily on the shows and stuff that they watch. I am going to add Goff because he's interesting. Davis Mills makes up for a potential. Is Brevin Jordan available? Yeah. Mills Brevin backdoor is kind of actually pretty. Oh, I clicked Mechie. 5 seconds. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this Mills. I like the idea that we just talked through. Well, I say I'm gonna do this, and somebody's definitely gonna take them, but I'm gonna try to do Mills Brevin Jordan backdoor stack. If it doesn't work, John Mechie. I assume Nico's gone. If it doesn't work, I'm gonna have a freaking naked Davis Mills team, which is not. There goes Mechie, which is not my hope. But what can you do? When you draft on stream and people take your guys, it is what it is. I'm also an idiot. I just realized the Alec Pierce pick was terrible. This should have been 3, 6, 7, 2. And now I'm thinking about the running backs are just not good enough. I think on this particular team, what has to happen, I have to take another running back. I know that the people will not be happy about only one tight end. But with these 5 running backs, I really think I need to have a sixth. I'm punting off quarterback already, right? But my wide receivers are really good, and obviously my tight end is really good. So I can't give away this team by not having enough running backs, and thus in week 8, the 0, I'll just have to overcome it. And I think people are unwilling to. It's another quick side tangent while I'm 3 picks away. People are unwilling to do those kinds of things because they're rigid to, I have to take 2 tight ends. I can't take that 0 or whatever. And like, I don't typically take a lot of zeros at quarterback or tight end. But when you start to go through this draft, and like, I think I kind of made a mistake on the Alec Pierce pick. It's okay. Just don't be rigid to that rule. And so I'm going to take one of my guys here with D'Ernest. I also like Eno here, Brian Robinson's, whatever. I don't want Sony. I took Chase Edmonds. I'm taking D'Ernest because he's one of the guys I'm really trying to. I think he actually might be one of the players I do spotlight in the playbook for this Puppy 2. I'm just trying to get out in front of any potential Cleveland trade or whatever with mainly with D'Ernest and Kareem Hunt. So he's very clearly proven to have upside when given a role. I think he's a good football player. If he gets moved, I think it'll be good for him. If Hunt gets moved, it'll be good for him. If neither do, it's okay. Nobody got moved last year, and D'Ernest was okay. Obviously, he needs a little help to get there, but I think it's totally fine. Just hit a couple. Basketball Moderate says the difference in tight end ceilings makes it easier to take a 0. I totally agree. 100%. Nailed it. Bollock says, I had a Lamar Lance team on DK, then Daniel Jones slid 40 picks past ADP. Almost never roll 3 with those 2, but at that price, I'm in. David says 10 points is actually overstating it in terms of that week 8 only having Travis Kelce. What's the median tight end score for the week? Definitely lower than 10. Probably closer to 5. That's way less impactful than a season's worth of the brittle, shallow running back production. 100%. That's exactly how I was thinking about it. You absolutely nailed it. Alex Berg says, scared Twitter is shaking because you're missing out on Austin Hooper's 1 catch for 7 yards in week 8. That's the other thing. It's like, how will I can't take a 0? Well, you're going to take an 18th round tight end. So that's the thing. What's the median tight end score? The median tight end score includes the top guys. You're taking an 18th rounder. Your projection is not even at the median when you take them. So you're projecting for lower than the median. So you're at tight end, you're only giving away a few points. So anyway, that is it. I do got to run, guys. As I said at the top, it is my sister's birthday. My sister's birthday today. Be on the lookout for that playbook for the Puppy 2. I'm working on finishing that up this afternoon or tomorrow morning, and we'll be back on Monday to do another draft. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. You guys are awesome. This was a lot of fun, and I think I'm gonna draft a lot more late round quarterback teams now after talking this through with you guys. I'll see you guys on Monday. Peace.